It's midsummer, mid-July. We're in northern Minnesota. This time of year, I love to go looking for largemouth bass. You know, I've been fishing for smallmouth a lot out on Lake Mille Lacs, and it's been awesome, and the bite's always good. But if there is a time that it gets a little slower, it's going to be around this time of year. Yet up here in these northern waters, the largemouth bass, they've been relatively unpressured, and they're usually up shallow, and it's an awesome way to go catch a lot of bass and also some big ones. We're at a little lake here. First thing I noticed, the water level is severely down, and this is Minnesota, so you know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, we don't necessarily deal with the up and down water like the reservoirs and river systems do around the country. We're all natural ponds, and for the most part, it's rare for us to be in a drought, you know. But like this one is pretty substantial. We're down the lowest I think I've ever seen it in my life being a Minnesota native. So that changes the game. We get out here right away. It's going to tell me two things. One, either the fish aren't going to be all that shallow, they're going to be out on the edge on the weed lines, or they're going to be super shallow, either in weeds or around boat docks. And the first thing that I see when I got here was dirty water and not a very good weed line. So those two don't really mesh well for an offshore bite. Not saying that there isn't one, but I think to start things off, I'm going to try to go shallow. The first things I'm going to do, though, it's important that I use my Navionics mapping. Now, again, up in shallow water, fishing boat docks, throwing a frog around, something like that, generally your electronics aren't going to be that important, but my mapping is huge. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to look for more vertical docks. That means I should have a little bit more water under them, and my first thing is to see, has the water dropped and pulled these fish away from these docks and put them out on these deeper docks, and maybe more of them. One thing when you're approaching the dock, I always like to get some stealthiness. You know, I got my power poles here. They come in huge fishing around boat docks. I can get back away from the dock like this and really kind of take a look at where my good casts are. Not only where my good casts are as far as catching the bass, but also where my good casts will be as far as actually getting the bass back out of there. It's important that you look for areas in and out. These boat lifts like this one here that the boat's sitting on, excellent places in these northern fisheries for us to get some bites as well. Of course, the plank of the dock. Being the water's so low, I'm guessing most of these fish should be on the outsides towards the ends of these docks. The key to skipping with both a baitcaster and a spinning rod is a light touch. Everyone wants to try to force it in there, and that's where you get in trouble. That's where you end up dinging the posts or just forcing it or getting a bad backlash. The key is, even if you look at the end of this dock, like where that lift is, I got just a couple inches where I can fit this senko in. If I try to really chuck it at it, it'll probably bounce. I'll get an errant cast, but it's just a nice kind of roll cast, and you should be able to skip it right up underneath there like that. And that's the key to it. Everyone wants to try to force it, but really the key is just a nice light touch, and you'll get to skipping it right up underneath these docks. There's one. Get out of there, baby. Get out of there. Get out of there. That might be a good one, babe. That took forever to get that bite. Get out of there. Get out of these docks. Better one. Better one. Better one. Right in the face. A little bit better one there. Again, you can see that one. You have to be able to make the cast. I got a face full of water. You got to be able to make that cast. You know, you got to be able to get it up underneath there. So many people fish these docks. I'm sure when they're up here, there's not a whole heck of a lot else to fish that I'm finding. But at the same time, not everyone can make that cast. And that's the key. It wasn't forced, just a nice light cast. Let it sit there for a while. Nice northern Minnesota largemouth bass. All right, let's talk about the setup for this. Definitely like to use a 7-1 medium action spinning rod. Definitely a technique you're going to want to use a spinning rod for, because without any weight or anything, this is quite a light finesse presentation, so the spinning rod definitely helps that. It also definitely helps take away some of the backlashes and stuff that you'll get with the casting gear until you get good at doing that, which I highly recommend that you do. My setup right here is actually a very high-end one. This is the G Loomis NRX Plus, the brand new NRX Plus house. I just got some of these from G Loomis, and I'm absolutely in love with them. So since I got the opportunity to fish them, I'm doing it. I'm using the brand new Shimano Xsense 4000, 10-pound Power Pro SSV2, and 10-pound Seeger Invisex fluorocarbon leader. This is my high-end stuff. At the same time, I came up with the exact same combo, but at a little bit better price point, and that was the G Loomis IMX Pro. Again, it's this 852 jig worm rod. That's 7.1 medium action, and I think I was using like a Shimano Noski or maybe a Shimano Stratic. Even the Vanford is a great reel that'll just last you a long time and in a more manageable price point. My bait that I'm using right now is just a little Exo Stick. This is a Bio Spawn Exo Stick, green pumpkin. I like the ribness. It's got a slow fall, which is nice. I keep my bait in the strike zone. I only really got a foot or so to work with under some of these docks. That's an owner hook right here, a Sniper Finesse, and it's got just this little guard that helps me get over the dock rails and the cables. You can check out all this different kind of stuff at Shields. They have something for everybody, but again, 7.1 medium action. Something I love about the G Loomis line is they continue those same actions and rod and model numbers throughout the different categories of price point. Some of them you get a little bit more with, but you're going to pay a little bit more as well. There he is. There he is. Big one. Nice one, at least. Stay on. Getting on a little bit better stretch here. Getting him in the boat. There he goes. Another nice one here. Get it? There he is. I knew he'd come back for it. Get out of there. Oh, look at that. That Invisex is all up in that lift right now. I can't get him around. There he comes. There he comes. There he comes. That's when you're going to want to check your line. Booty back up. Get off my rods. That's a nice one. Stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Stay down. Nice one. Lost my Exo Stick finally, but that owner Sniper Finesse got him right in the roof of their mouth. That's the best. You know, one thing I want to show here on this dock is when we first pulled up to this dock, I got bit off of this lift. I missed it. Okay, so I just gave that fish. It wasn't like he came out and saw the boat and all that, and I lost him at the side of the boat. I had him hooked up. I just couldn't get him out of the lift. He pulled off. Instead of sending the bait right back down there on a fish that maybe is a little spooked to what happened, instead, I refocused my cast to the different parts of the dock. Pulled a nice keeper off the end of the dock, and then came back, went back under the lift, let it sit there for a while, a little shake. This bait just falls so slow that little tiny twitches are all the subtleness. That's all you need, and got that fish to bite and come back out. So again, very important when you're fishing these boat docks, picking them apart, and if you do get a bite, skip it back under there because there's a good chance that you're going to catch that fish. They feel very, very protected when they're underneath these boat docks. That'd be nice. You can see it. The hook gets them way down in there. Pop that out. Keeps me free of the dock. Still got my minnow. And another keeper bass.